Yo, 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 what's up, everyone? It's Trust the Profits, Tour de Force. We are talking season 3 and season 4 tonight. Welcome to the millions of viewers around the world. Bringing in a couple of legends of the game here to talk season 3 and season 4. First up, the season 2 champ. We got both of these guys are champions of this tournament that we started about a year and a half ago when we did a spring and fall season 1, 2 last year, and then a spring season this year, and a fall season coming up. First up, Ryan G. Crime Pays 503. Is that correct?
You got it.
Season 2 champion. And we have Alex, also known as Hoff, HOF, Hall of Fame. I don't know what it stands for or what it is, but
short and last name. Yep.
There it is. Yeah. Cut on the last name. And Alex made history in the Belmont right there because he was way back in the field, scored big at the Belmont, and jumped about 30 positions or so. I don't know, 60 positions.
Yeah, too many.
We'll take a look. But first off, it's the Tour de Force. Like we said, it's been going on, and this will be the 4th season, and it's grown from, I believe it was around 25 or so in the first season, and 35 or so in the second season, then 61 in the third season. So we're looking to get this a little bigger, and I've been getting a ton of direct messages on Twitter and Facebook about how it works. So we figured we would run through this real quick. So first, let's talk about season 3, and I'm going to share my screen, and it might be a disaster. This is a new laptop, and we'll show you kind of how it breaks down. So in the spring seasons, like we just had, we had it was basically the Derby preps leading up to the Triple Crown. Alex here, the winner, you can see won by a substantial margin. Looks like a dominant performance, but what you don't see is, as we scroll over through round 1, you see he scored 0 points, $0, airball, and that trend continues all the way across until he got his first points in week 15 or event 15.
That was actually from not submitting a bet.
Yeah, amazing. So up until this point, he has not won a single bet. And then Santa Anita Derby hits for 1180, a nice hit. It was good enough to split the best of the week or best of the event for Santa Anita. Round 20 of 25, gets his first hit there. Probably still in the bottom 10 of the overall scores. And then way at the end here, you see Belmont Stakes, the final round. He hits for 18,750, which is the biggest score in the history of our tournament, which is only 3 short seasons, but just massive hit. And there was a $100 cold trifecta. And who were the horses? Remind us, because that was impressive, man.
So it was Mo Donegal 1, Nest 2, and Skippy Longstocking got up for 3rd over We the People. Thankfully.
And I actually had a couple guys ask me, did he bet that with real money? Or I said, you did do a small bet with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually the Belmont day leading up was terrible for me. I'm mostly a contest player, but on the big days I will bet into the pick pools, the pick 4s, pick 5s, and so by the time the Belmont had rolled around, I had lost most of the budget I had allocated to the day, so I had a little bit left that I did put on I just had the $1 try. I'm a pretty small budget player in general, so I had it for $1, which obviously was nice. It nearly paid for the rest of the day of losing bets, but obviously the cold trifecta was unexpected, but was a lot of fun cheering it on as they came home.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people, I don't think anybody else in our contest had that. And I don't know anybody who had it cold like that at all. I know some people who had it boxed or keyed with others and got it done. That was a big payday. The good news for you is even without the big bet, in reality, you did get the $1,000 prize for winning this tournament. So
yeah,
that happened.
Yeah.
So even though you didn't bet it with the the real money ticket, that was worth way more than enough to win the tournament here.
For sure. Yeah, and to clarify, I did not bet it cold with my real money. It was I had boxed the top 2 and then had Skippy and Creative Minister in third. So a little bit more combinations than just the goal. But
that's a chance you take in a tournament because you need a big strike all at once, and that's what happened. It worked out for you. Ryan won with season 2. Season 2 was more of a grind. I was actually somewhat near the top of that list too. There was like I said, 30 some guys in that one, guys and girls, and it was a big grind. It seemed like there was no breakaway winner. Nobody took a big lead. Nobody had an $18,000 hit. Nothing like that.
No. And I didn't. The whole season, I didn't have a big hit. I was just kind of consistent along the whole way. And then the last week, I had a pretty good week the last week in the Breeders' Cup, and I had about I think it was about 1,700, 1,800 on that weekend. And that was enough to put me over the top of the second place person.
So to break it down, we've had 3 seasons. 2 of the 3 seasons, we were just talking about this, had a big hit that kind of took over the whole thing. Alex with season 3 with the big hit at the Belmont. Then season 1, Matt Hensing won with one giant. I can't remember. I'd have to pull up the relics. Don't want to bore everybody with the details, but he hit about a $45,000 to $5,500 hit all at once. Took command of that tournament and then was able to hold off. And it was similar to Alex in season 3, where he didn't have much success up until that one big hit, because he's taking stabs, he's taking cold tries and exactas, going for the big hits, not necessarily trying to grind it out. Whereas a lot of us do try to grind. Season 2, a grinder approach worked. Season 1 and season 3, it was more of a boom or bust approach, which makes it interesting. So
even if you look at, sorry to interrupt you, but even if you look at season 3, I'm looking at it on my other computer, back of it. But if you take off, say you take off Alex, the first place person, everyone else is pretty close after that.
Yeah.
I mean, within under $1,000, the next few people.
And if you look to 7th, you'll see that the first person to not cash in the tournament is myself, which was a bit of a heartbreaker. It sucked. And I don't know. I felt like I did pretty good throughout the whole thing. If you look at the spend versus return, very positive. Mostly used the profits picks and the Derby preps went pretty well, but just didn't have that big boom hit. I think my biggest hit of the whole season was about $400 or $500. But I had a few of those, and it was enough to keep me in the mix. I didn't get the big one. It seems like you need to have at least one out of the 25 or 30 rounds get you 1,000 or more, or else you got a tough grind. But that's what makes it cool, man. So like we said, Alex, season 3.
I lost them.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Everybody still here?
Yeah.
Did you guys stay in?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Let me reshare my screen. I don't remember where I was at. A little slight heart attack going on there, but I'm sure you guys kept everybody well occupied there. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah. So basically, let's jump in. Let's talk about season 4, because a lot of the biggest difference, I suppose, would be the schedule. Like, this one is more based around the Breeders' Cup preps. starting with the Haskell. That starts in about a month from today. So instead of the Derby preps leading up to the Triple Crown, this is more of the when you're in races for the Breeders' Cup. In all the different divisions, we tried to mix up the schedule to hit I think we have all the classic division when you're ins, and then a mix of the sprint, distaff, mile, turf, all of that leading up to, of course, the last, you can see, what is it? 14 rounds, 14 Breeders' Cup races to finish it out. So we have about half of the schedule is Breeders' Cup preps, and then the other half is the Breeders' Cup itself. So that makes it for an interesting one big weekend. But I mean, overall, the strategy, and we were talking about it before, you kind of don't know where you're at going into the last weekend, which is about half of the overall value of the tournament, which is kind of a good thing because I think it makes you cap more as if there was no regard to where you're at in the standings versus like the stab that Alex took going into the Belmont. He knew he was behind by a few thousand. He needed to take a big hit. Maybe going into Breeders' Cup weekend, you approach that a little differently. It's interesting to see. I don't know, Ryan. You've played both versions. Which one did you like better? In all honesty, because I'm kind of torn. I know, like the Formula. One of my partners on Trust the Profits, he definitely prefers the Triple Crown preps versus this because this is so wide open. But where are you at on it, Ryan?
I liked season 2. I liked having the whatever it is, 14 races the last Friday and Saturday. That made it more exciting.
Yeah, the thing about the Breeders' Cup too, it's my favorite event of the year without question, and the reason for that is because, especially with the turf and the juvenile stuff, there is bombs everywhere going off because you just don't. Turf is the most unpredictable type of racing besides juveniles. You mix juveniles and turf together, and things go real sideways odds wise. You get huge prices, which is always good. So it's I don't know. I think. Whereas you'll see in the Derby prep schedule, a lot of it is kind of predictable. And at least 2/3 of it kind of happens the way it's supposed to, which is good or bad, depending on what kind of bettor you are. Alex, this will be your first time going after the Breeders' Cup. I don't know. What do you think about that schedule? Do you think this looks more appealing, less appealing?
Yeah, I think the fact that half the contests will be played sort of in the dark and that you don't really know. I mean, you have a general sense going into the last, what would we say, 14 races that you'll have an understanding where you are, but without the kind of the live leaderboard on the last 14, I think it'll be interesting how that plays into strategy. Going into the Belmont, obviously, I knew exactly I needed about 5,000 to have a chance, and so I was playing to that number. Whereas in the Belmont, I think you get, like you were saying before, a little bit less stabbing towards the end. Obviously, if you blank out in the Breeders' Cup and you're down at the end, you'll probably still be stabbing if you kind of have a general idea on where you are, but you won't know that number that you need to hit. And so actually, I mean, I won season 3, so it's hard to say, but I think I might be looking more forward to something like season 4 where you won't get it. I think it'll be a truer handicapping competition versus like someone like the Belmont where I just got lucky on the last race and happened to win. So I'm looking forward to season 4 for sure. Try something different.
Kind of a big, I wouldn't call it luck, but a big educated guess. And then knowing that you had to take a stab that you didn't with your real money. You said, honestly, you went a little more conservative with it, which I would too. I would never bet a cold trifecta on real money like that in a race like that. But
yeah.
Maybe key one on top and box 3 or 4 underneath. That's more my style. But I get it. I mean, in the tournament, it was good enough to win. I kind of regretted after I saw that. I was like, man, I should have taken a bigger stab, a deeper stab. But
yeah, I will say in my defense, that was sort of the strategy. And I think the interesting discussion is the strategy throughout the whole season, right? My strategy all of season 3 was to quote unquote stab, right? To knowing that the winning score in season 2 was about 3,000. There was double the entries. I knew that the winning score would probably be in the 5-6K range. And the thought of trying to score $200 25 times to get the 5,000 seemed impossible. Even 12 winning races at $400 a pop seems like a big mountain to climb, but if you can catch a few big pops of 2,000 to 3,000, that just seemed like an easier feat. So, from the get-go in the LeCompte, I think I bet 2 tickets, one $60 straight try, and one $40 straight try. So I was, swinging from the get-go, and that was always the strategy. So I will defend myself a little bit that I was stabbing the whole contest, not just in the Belmont. But I think there are multiple ways you can get there. I just chose kind of the high variance strategy versus kind of the nickel and dime your way up there. So I think that's an interesting kind of strategy discussion to have with this season-long competition.
Yeah, and Vic Stauffer, Goof on Roof, had the same thing. He had finished with 4,400. It was good enough for 5th place. And he was kind of like you. I think he had 90 or 95% of that winnings come in the first week when he had Call Me Midnight, I believe. He had a $100 winner on that. It was like 14, 15, 20 to 1 or something crazy. I don't remember, but yeah, most of his winnings there came all in one hit. So
yep.
That's probably the boomer bust strategy is probably going to be the way to win these, getting top 5 and getting into the money. And you can see I put in onto the screen share here quickly the payouts, because we paid out 6 deep with 61 people. So it wasn't just a winner take all. 1,000 for first, 500 for second, 325, 225 all the way down. We paid out to 6th, and then we did $25 per week for the highest score per week. So it was fun. We saw the schedule. So just other than this stuff, I wanted to just touch on, and by the way, please put in the comments if you have any questions or comments about what you've seen here. Let's see. I know I've got a ton of private messages about this, but to be clear, this is from Ed. You must make a total wager of $75 on a race, but once you wager a total of 100, you're done for the day, even if you won your bets. I think if I understand that correctly, yes, if you can bet up to $100 in bets. This season, you'll see in the rules, you can make 2 bets that total up to 100, and that's it. So, and it's only one race. So let's say it's round one
per race.
Yep.
100 per race, because some of the weekends or some of the days will have 2 or 3.
Yeah,
events.
so we'll use exactly. Good point. So we'll use the Haskell week round 1 as an example. You'll get $100 to bet with there. You'll spend 100 in bets, 2 bets. You can bet a $50 win, $50 win place. You can bet a exacta and then a win bet, whatever the totals up to $100 or less, and whatever returns from that, whether it's 0 or 10 grand, that's what you end up with for round 1. Round 2, you start with $100 again. Same thing. You do not roll over your winnings. If you win 10,000 in the first round, you cannot bet 10,000 in the second round. It's $100, $100 per event. And like Ryan said, as you can see, events 3 and 4 are both in the same day, so it's $100 per race, $100 per event there, not $100 per day, but $100 per race. So hope that clarifies that question. That comes up a lot. I think once you see the way things start breaking down, it makes more sense. Let's see. Anything else from questions? Like I said, just comment. We'll respond to anything in the questions, or email trusttheprofits@gmail.com. I'll reply to that as well. Before let's see if there's nothing else, and I don't see a whole lot going on. Keith, thanks for the comment, man. Each and every stride, that's a big thing too. Keith makes a good point here, and I'm sure you guys can agree. It's really interesting. He says he learned a lot, and this is a guy. This is a good capper. He's a as far as I know. I don't know Keith like personally super well, but I know he's a grinder and caps a lot of cards all the time. Same with me, and I learned a lot from this, man. Like, this will be season 4, all 3 seasons. I've changed the way I bet because of this tournament, not because I'm trying to take big stabs, but because I see things like, what it takes to make money over time versus, trying to, and it's kind of counterintuitive because like what Alex said about tournaments are a little different because sometimes you need to take a stab and try to hit 10 grand all at once. And in reality, it's probably not smart to bet like that with cash betting, but so it's different. But at the same time, I've learned like I do a lot more. For example, me personally, I do a lot more like key boxes with trifectas. I didn't used to do that bet as much as I do now, where you key box a horse on top of 3 or 4, especially in big fields. I saw a lot of guys in these tournaments having success that way, and I don't know. I think that has probably become one of my go-to bets to make money in big field races. Let's see what else we got. I don't know what that means. Anybody?
Oh, Bailly just ran at Ascot.
Yeah.
So that's all I know.
Will we see him in Breeders' Cup? Okay. I don't know, man. That's a good question. You never know with the Breeders' Cup stuff with the horses coming over from Europe or like the UAE Derby and all those. Like, it really depends on what the horses' plans are for the future. But it's always good to see them come over and especially in the turf stuff because, as we see, usually year in and year out, it's not the American horses that win on turf. Let's see.
A lot can happen between now and November as well. I mean.
Anybody going to Saratoga? Anybody? I know Vinny, our guy Vinny, lives near Saratoga, and I'm flirting with the idea to go up and meet with some people. I know you guys. Where are you, Ryan? What part of the country are you guys in? I'm in South Carolina, so it's a little bit of a hike up there, but
I'm in Boston, so it's about 3 hours door to door driving for me, so it's not bad. I go a few times each summer.
Yeah, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. My dad goes nearly every year. He's running a house, and I'll be taking a trip to Europe during the meet. So I'm not going to make it this year. I still haven't been, but I've heard it's a must go as a horse racing fan. So it's definitely on the bucket list.
It is. I've been there. I've only been there once, and it was like 15 years ago. So I'm ready to go again. Vinny will be putting me up in his palace if we can make it happen. It'd be fun. I'd like to go for the either the Travers or I don't know. There's a bunch of they've got so many good events throughout the summer meet. So I'm thinking of going to the Travers as usual. That's the one race I went to last, and I think I would go there again for sure. Ryan, what events are you planning on? You said you go 3 or 4 times a year. You going to anything?
Yeah, I don't know what weekends. I was there for the 4-star Dave last year. I don't remember what other weekends, but yeah, I'm not positive this year when I'll be there.
Yeah, well, you're a Red Sox guy, right?
I am.
Oh, you see that Cabrera jersey hanging behind me? Like that's.
I see it. Yeah.
You broke my heart, baby. You broke my heart. 2000 and I think it was 9 when where Big Poppy knocked it out and Torrey Hunter went flipping over the center field wall and
2013.
Was it 13?
Yeah, that's the year they won. Yeah.
Horrible. I hate the Red Sox, but nothing but I respect them, but I hate them. You know how that goes.
I hear you.
D Trusty, what up, Dennis? Are you going to join this tournament this year? Or you too much of a coward? What's going on with him? So anyway, let's take a look. I got a few rapid fire questions for these guys because these guys have now been through at least one season. Ryan's been through 3. Alex is the defending champ now. Do some rapid fire. Let's see. Start with Ryan. What are your most common bet types used in the tournament? As far as like win place, exacta, try, super. What do you lean on most?
Mostly exacta and tries. Sometimes straight, sometimes box. That's my most common bet. And that's been for all 3 seasons so far.
Alex, how about you? I know you were taking the bigger stabs, but
yeah, I would say definitely. I think the only ones I played were exactas and tries, and most of the time it had, I would say, a maximum of 4 combinations, but a lot of time it was 2 different combinations and pressing. Like the only other one I hit was Santa Anita Derby was $100 Taba over Messier straight. So I was a lot of those. Like if I like the favorite, was 100 or 50 with that horse on top. But if I like the long shot, I might go a little bit more combinations, just depending. Like I kind of in my head, the lowest I wanted to score on a bet was about 1,000. So any bet I made would roughly hit that threshold in my mind when I made it.
So yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting thought process. So that's why we brought you guys on to kind of hear that, because you're looking to score either 1,000 or know that you're going to bust.
Yep.
See, that's a different approach from me completely, which doesn't mean you're right or wrong or I'm right or wrong. It just means it's a different approach, which is interesting because I have yet to win or even cash in one of these with my strategy, which is kind of maybe you key box or box 3 or 4 horses and press all in, like a $10 or $15 try, whatever you can fit in the budget. And that's my thing. I've always hit the $400 and $600 hits or else nothing. And you get one big one, like you're saying. That's a different approach, but it works. Or it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of guys that go the whole season without that one big one you had.
Yeah, until the Belmont, it was not working at all. But so it goes.
Exactly. So my next question was, do you tend to lean more on straights, boxes, key boxes, or wheels? And we kind of answered that already.
Straights and
Ryan,
wheels.
what's your strategy with that? Is that more of a...
I'd guess I'm probably close to 50-50, maybe 60% box and 40% straight, but it's pretty close. Like it just depends on the race, who I like, how many horses in the race, and stuff like that.
All right. So my next question to both of you, 2 of the 3 seasons we've talked about it. 2 of the 3 seasons have been won with a single monster hit, like Alex's and Matt's in the first season. Does that change the way you're going to approach season 4, or are you going to start with the same type of strategy that you would have went in with, regardless of how the other 3 have gone so far? Ryan, go ahead. You first.
I'll probably start with the same strategy I have, which the 3 seasons, and just try to grind it out. Good picks every week, and then obviously, depending how you do and how others do, you might have to change that strategy, but you won't know until then.
How about you, Alex? You going in with the $1,000 minimum type of approach to a hit, or?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think there's more races in season 4, right? There's 30 races, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
So with 30 races, and I think the number of entries matters too. So I think I always will start with, what do I think the winning score is roughly going to be, and work my way backwards from there. So if I think the winning score is going to be, given on the number of entrants, like 7,000, I have more races to get there, roughly in the same 1,000 at a minimum, but really going for those 2,000 to 3,000 scores. And I think the rules are mostly the same. You only get 2 wagers this time, whereas it was 3 last time, right? So
yep.
Thinking, I don't know if that would change things too much. I guess it just gives you less flexibility in terms of your wagers. So you just got to really press your opinions. But I would say pretty much going to stick with the swing for the 2K and above scores, but at a minimum 1,000. But if there's 150 entrants, you might even have to swing more. So I don't know. I have to see how it shakes out. And then I think exactly what Ryan said, as the season goes, you have to adjust. A boom or bust strategy, like myself, you don't really adjust too much. But like in the Belmont, I would have not necessarily gone $100 cold. That was a factor of me being down as much as I was. So
yeah,
I think you do have to adjust on your way, especially if you're kind of playing the more conservative, grinded out strategy. And I think it's interesting, like, where in the process do you adjust? If you have that strategy, I think is an interesting question.
Yeah, if somebody jumps out to a $5,000 lead over the rest of the field, then definitely, I think everybody's more apt to taking stabs.
Yep.
And vice versa. If Alex is up by 5,000, he's not going to probably play the $100 cold try in the Belmont.
Right, exactly.
It's for sure.
You start playing some $50 win places on, something a little more conservative. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes. That kind of leads to the next question. How much does your position in the overall standings dictate your level of aggression from week to week? Is pretty much what we just covered. If you're down 10 grand, obviously you're not going to sit there and be betting $10 exactas. You're going to be betting $50 and $100 exactas straights. So Last couple things, and we'll get off of here. And like I said, everybody hit us in the comments or email. The registration is in the link in this video, by the way, on YouTube. So register if you haven't. I think we've already got over 20, which is cool. I think 61 last in season 3. Hoping to get more than that. Hoping to get closer to 100, which we can do with a little help from everybody. Tell a friend about it. All right, last couple things, and we'll get out of here. Since both of you guys played in at least one full season, what's the one biggest thing you've learned to give yourself a better shot in the tournaments coming up, season 4 specifically? Biggest thing, Alex, go ahead, you first.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know if it's always easy to say like press your opinions and really skinny tickets up, but I think a contest like this really emphasizes like really figuring out what your opinion in the race is and making sure that you're pressing that multiple times so that if you're right, you get a leverage score versus spreading your money out too much and you might catch it, but $400 and you got to do that 11 more times over the course of 20 races. So I think it emphasized for me just really focusing on your opinion and trying to press it. So that you just, I guess for me, my handicapping's got to be better because for 24 races, I was not anywhere close. But I think, I guess I felt like the strategy paid off at the end. So I think just making sure that you're pressing your opinion.
Do you lose? Because believe me, I can relate to exactly what you just said. Do you lose 15, 20 races into this thing in a 25 round season? Are you sitting there going, "What? I'm an idiot"? I mean, do you lose confidence at some point? I mean, you know that you're taking big stabs, and you know that it only takes one big stab to make it all up. But at the same time,
I think,
that's how I've been running lately. I've been like super close, missing by an inch. You know, that's gambling. But
that's the heartbreak of the game, right? And that's what I was going to say is I was really close on a few early ones. Actually, the comp I brought up, I had that's a perfect example of something that at least gave me hope, even though it was a learning lesson. I had it finished Call Me Midnight, Epicenter, Papa Cap. The $60 try I had was Epicenter, Papa Cap, Call Me Midnight, and the $40 one was Papa Cap, Epicenter, Call Me Midnight. So I was right there, and I was really close to blowing it open from the first race.
If you would have boxed those three, you would have probably blown it
exactly.
open.
So I think if anything, I was too aggressive from the get-go, and if I had just taken $10 off both those bets, I could have keyed Call Me Midnight in first and second, and not limited my upside on the other two bets, and it would have paid off. So I guess like I had enough close calls throughout that I felt like I was sniffing it, and obviously with that strategy, you have to be fine looking totally stupid, which I totally did. 20 races in, you just know that if you're swinging that hard, there's a good chance that if you're looking for a 20x payout on a race like I was 100 into 2000, it's a 20 to 1 shot. So you're only expected to hit 1 in 20. And so to lose the first 19 wasn't necessarily surprising to me.
Right.
And you just got to keep swinging. That's all you can really do. And just hope that eventually you catch it. So I guess I was close enough to give me confidence to continue on. The only other thing to do was just not play, which seemed like a waste. So I kept firing.
Yeah, Ryan, so you're more of a grinder. I think me and you are kind of more on the same page, which I don't know. In all honesty, like listening to Alex, I'm a little more convinced with airballing 20 times out of 25 and maybe hitting 2, maybe 1, maybe 3.
Right. Like we said, I mean, it might depend how you do the first 4 or 5 events. If you hit nothing the first 4 or 5 events, you say, "Oh, I'm going to throw an air ball this one, see what happens." I mean, I don't know if I would that early in the season, but like you said, it just depends where you are and you have to adjust. One thing I found that I'm not sure I really expected is that I find myself handicapping these races for the tournament like they're live bets, like I'm putting money on them at the track.
Yeah, I do too. I usually bet. I kind of force myself to bet, that way, so I keep myself honest in the tournament. So I don't know what this guy's doing here with the live chat, but we'll take care of that on the editing. Let's see. One last question. We'll get off here, boys. if there's one thing you could change about the tournament for season 4, what would that be as far as format or rules, anything like that? And I'm open-minded. I won't take anything personally if you have suggestions, because I'm trying to make it user-friendly and more fun for everybody. I want it to get bigger. So, Alex, anything?
Yeah, I think and one of them we chatted beforehand, I think would be an interesting twist. The one would be if you lose the race, you lose the money. I think would be interesting. I don't know if it would change the strategy too much, but adding the negative 100, if you blanked in a race, it might reward a more grinded out conservative style and might be a truer. I don't know if it would change it too much, but it would be an interesting twist. And then the other one is to introduce cut lines. So maybe the first cut is halfway through the season. The bottom, you could do it however you wanted, bottom 10, bottom 20%, bottom 50%. And then just kind of as you go, start cutting from there and really limiting it to and rewarding the players that have done well all season. Because, I wouldn't say that I was the best player in the contest. I happened to win, but I just got lucky in one race. But I think if you wanted to make it a truer, like who was the best over the course of the season, that might eliminate some of the riffraff early on, and I think would be an interesting twist as well.
Ryan, I have one idea I wanted to bring up to you guys to let you stew on it for a bit. But Ryan, what's your opinion on any rule changes or scoring changes?
I don't really have an opinion on any new rules. I do like. I don't see much of a difference for me personally going from 3 entries to 2 entries for each event. I think a lot of the events the last season I only had 2 anyway. And I do actually like Alex's idea of having a cut line at some point, I think it would take some thought of where exactly you do it, what week or after what event, and go from there.
So here's a thought. I thought this through a little bit myself, and I don't know how it might be too hard to explain here, but I'll try. So let's say there's 100 entries, 100 entries in the tournament total, 100 guys and girls, whatever. Let's say Alex scores $10,000 in this event number 1, and that's the highest score of the event. If there's 100 entries, he would get credit for first place in that event, so that would be worth 100 points. If Ryan gets second with 9,000, he would get second in that event, which would be worth 98 points. So you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And the guy who got dead last would get 0. Or if you tied with a bunch of people for dead last, you'd split whatever you might get. What the hell's going on here with these idiots?
So it's basically similar to the Derby prep races.
Yeah, if you get 90th out of 100, you'd get 10 points. Or if you get 10th out of 100, you get 90 points. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So then nobody gets like this huge, insurmountable lead. It's basically a point system by rounds, something like that. I mean, just keep it to where, like, if you hit that $10,000 win like Alex did, you're not really uncatchable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't know. That's just something to throw out there.
And you wouldn't like the cut lines kind of stinks, because then you pay your entry fee and you're out halfway through. So that's sort of a way to reward the people that have been the best throughout the entire time without like totally eliminating someone from possibly coming back towards the end. So
let's say you get like 20th place, 3 times in a row. So you get like what, 80 points, 80. And then you hit your first place once, you'd get 100 for that. And then you bombed out and got nothing on the other 2. So you'd have 100 after 3 rounds, and the person who got 20th 3 times would actually be ahead of that person. I mean, that's just the problem is trying to explain that to people. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's better or just scoring it the way the payouts go. It's obviously simpler the way the payouts go, but I don't know. I'm trying to reward the guys who are also being consistent and grinding, especially if you see like in the Derby preps. I think a lot of times it's super chalky, but I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
Sleep on that, boys. Thanks for joining. Anything else before we jump off here?
No, I just say thank you for having us on, and also I know it's got to be on Sundays. The last thing you probably want to do sometimes is go into that spreadsheet and score everyone's everyone's races. So I appreciate all the effort that you put in throughout the year to do that.
Yeah, man. No problem. I enjoy it, and it's usually on Mondays.
Fair enough.
May or may not happen during my work time, but it does kind of suck, to be honest. Some days I'm just like, man, I don't want to do it, but it's fun. I'm trying to grow the sport, and I think like if you see poker, I always reference back to poker. Poker boom back in the early 2000s wouldn't have happened without tournaments. Tournaments grew, especially the World Series grew the sport. I think horse racing is the same way. If you're just sitting there playing cash games with Texas Hold'em in a smoky casino somewhere, it never would have got to where it got. I think tournaments are the same thing for horse racing. You're sit here and these are the type of things where you can buy in for $100 or $50 in this case, or 500, whatever, and you can make $1 million, which is eventually, like, I know that's a ridiculous far cry from where we're at here, but that's kind of the mentality, is that to be able to put $50 in and to win a few $1,000s or something for 50 is a way cooler thing than putting your $50 in and trying to win 4,000 with one bet. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, if you think it's like $2 a race, if the season 3 would have been $2 a race, 125 races, and what are the chances that like someone like me could make $1,000 betting $2 a race for 25 races? So I totally agree. I think it's a little capital spread out around a long season, and it's a lot of entertainment for your dollar, and at the end you can come out on top. So
yeah, and you can learn a bunch too. So
yeah.
Ryan, anything else? Close it out.
No, just to touch on what Alex just said, is it's $50 for almost 4 months of worth of races. Obviously, there'll be some weekends that there's no events, and I think there's a few week break after the last race before the Breeders' Cup weekend. But overall, it's almost 4 months worth of races for only $50. I mean, that's a small amount of money.
Yeah, if you're on a budget, exactly, man. If you're on a budget, the $50 entry fee kind of hurts if you're on a small budget, but way more bang for the buck than trying to make $50 spread out, especially on Breeders' Cup weekend, where $50 ain't going to get you real far.
Yeah.
But all right, boys, thank you guys for joining. It's been fun. Like we said, hit the comments, hit the email, trusttheprofits@gmail.com. We'll reply to any questions or concerns about the tournament. And the registration link is in the comments. So jump in, guys. It'll be fun. We've got about 20 something already in, and I'm sure it'll be more than 60 for season 4. So the payouts will be even bigger this time. Thanks again, guys. Peace out.